But I don't want to interrupt you and Denny's conversation.
Did you call for the meeting? I'm sorry.
No, I'm being polite, waiting for.
I hardly ever get to see Danny anymore.
Well, that's not my fault. That's because you got sick last week. He was up at your office.
It's not all my fault, but that part was my fault.
Oh, everybody please stand. We'll open this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody. Has everybody signed in? I'll take that as a yes. Meeting minutes from November 8th, 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Public comment? Is there any public comment? Nope. Okay, moving on to number 4. The spending plan I have up here. Did we share that with everybody, the spending plan?
Yes, there's a
Okay.
link on the homepage.
What's that?
I didn't bring
Was it the one that was on the website, like?
Yes.
Link?
Yes.
Yes. So we started last November, late last November. We kind of balanced out 23 and 24. We still have, we're in the red, $300,000 in 24, but I'm not worried about that. It'll come from some change orders, or if bids come in under. So 25 though, we do have $11.5 million in the red, but we knew that because we moved projects out. One thing I did notice since then was that we were blindly moving projects from one year to the next. While that originally seems like it's a good idea, we are not taking into account the different funding pots that we have. In other words, if we move an HSIP project out, then we don't have any HSIP projects that year, which the feds kind of really frown upon, being, as well as the state being, they have adopted a Vision Zero or Safe Streets for All. And the same goes for CMAC and CRP and the Protect.
So are you saying that certain HSIP and CMAC funds need to sort of hold their position?
Either hold their position or
be replaced appropriately?
yes.
Yeah. And those projects that we moved, that they were affected?
Well, if you look at, first off, Protect, this is kind of getting into item 6, but the Protect funds, we do not have any projects funded at all. We do have a couple projects that were submitted in the NOFA for Protect funds. But I am looking for projects that we can put in for Protect funds. Now, it's only $700,000 for Protect monies. I don't know if that's worth it, but we can always use SDBG funds and Protect funds. So I guess moving forward, and then Protect is resilience, which would be flooded streets, somehow fixing a flooded street, whether that's increasing the sewers, the drainage sewers, the drainage problem in that area, or raising the road a little bit, a bigger culvert, something like that. or it's just addressing resiliency is what it is.
I have a project. So we, you know, I lost 800 grand or something like that because we didn't hit our mark on the timing. We submitted for a transportation, I forget what it was called. It was through the Indiana Finance Authority. We won the project, we did the design, we didn't get the project bid in time. And so we shelved our design. But it was 129th Street, right along where the 41 is, so it sort of floods the highway and 129th Street. We have designed a project that's ready to go, although it's probably not the federal standards, right? I mean, we could build it as a local project, but we have the design pretty far advanced that could fill that category as an option. If you needed that, obviously it wouldn't happen in 2023, but it could happen fairly quickly because there's no right of way, no
So we,
environmental work, so
Right.
it could be eligible and we wouldn't ask for it.
so this is something, like I said, that I would, we will look at that in item number 6. Carbon CRP, we don't have any funds going on, but we have an idea from our NOFA. I think we can take care of those projects. Our HSIP is a big one. In 2024, we do not have any HSIP projects. I have talked to a couple of you in the room and about possible HSIP converting projects over to HSIP. So I think that will help. But in 26, 27 to 28, we only have one project that we have under HSIP.
In the NOFA.
Well, yeah, I mean, those are the road safety audits.
Didn't Munster submit a countywide?
Right, okay, then in 26, then fiscal year 2026, we only have one project. And I'm just saying, for example, in 26, we only have one project still. Current. Yes. So we'll take some projects, and if we can fund them in 26, but that would mean that someone's project in 25 or 26 may not get funded till 27 or 28. Because we were blindly just moving project out so we could fund everything. But like I was saying earlier, that doesn't take into account the various funding pots that we're required to pull from.
They had, Porter County had a pre-mission too, that
Right.
is that?
That's in probably 26. Yeah, because, yes,
Is there any possibility of split funding an STB project? If, for instance, it includes sidewalks, which I think are now programmatic for HSIP?
they're not programmatic. I've had a couple different conversations with NDOT. And it's it's one of those things that the federal government, the federal highway said that sidewalks on busy roads should be eligible. There's a lot of leeway in that statement. You know, what's a busy road? What does should mean? And finally, Mike Halawadi at NDOT said, submit it, and we'll force Federal Highway to take a look at it. So it's not programmatic yet. So it sounds like it may never be one of those. Until things get more defined, it's going to have to be submitted for HSIP the same way that every other project is. You know, you got to do a road safety audit. I don't know if you need to do a road safety audit.
If we take a project, let's say a $5 million job, and includes $500,000 sidewalk, or a bike trail, and ask for that element of that project to be funded as a way of giving back.
Yeah. Yes. Correct. I would entertain that.
How would one go about doing that?
We'd have to break out the costs
Yeah,
and then just submit it that way. And say, this is a, did you say $4.5 million project, we're gonna have $1 million worth of sidewalks, let's just, I'm just
and
going.
is that 90/10 funding?
So then whatever was approved could either be 90/10 or 80/20.
Is there some criteria that the LPA would have to provide besides just a request to Worksy that they split the project cost? Like ABTs?
Yeah. This is gonna have to come down to, it probably will end up by being a dialogue with Federal Highway and NDOT as to what they're gonna allow and if they're gonna allow that portion of the project.
Take a swing at it and let's see what happens.
Yeah, and it may be that, that they say, well, can you provide us this? You provide them this, and they say, well, we like it, but we need something else, and so it might be one of those things where you give them more information, for that portion.
Thank you.
I don't know what's what's required, other than,
Well, let's give it a try and see
Yeah.
what they say.
yeah, Federal Highway is coming down on NDOT has come down on NDOT about, safety for all roadway users, not just motorists. But this is a big battleship that NDOT's steering. And this thing does not turn quick. I've had a couple different conversations, and that's what they were told, that they need to start programming funds for other roadway users. It's not the Indiana Department of Highways.
I don't know that.
But it still operates like the Indiana Department of Highways. So it's gonna have to come down to probably a dialogue and give them the kitchen sink with the dishwater in it and see what they want.
Okay, thank you.
So, like I said, I've talked to a couple of you already about projects that could fit this bill. But yeah, if there's a project that's got sidewalks in it already and it's a busy road, because NDOT's trying to figure this out for themselves. They're close to losing their oversight. Yes, for safety projects, because they're not taking into consideration all roadway users. Yeah. So,
Is the volume and diversity of the,
what's that?
is the volume and diversity of the projects, you're saying, are they not programming enough projects, or are they programming too many highway projects without enough safety elements? I mean, what's the actual issue?
I think it's they're not considering other roadway users.
Sounds like university project.
So, yeah, I think, and actually I had a conversation last week, and they said they would still entertain it if NERC would be willing to participate in the funding for the pedestrian portion of it, which is not what I heard 2 weeks prior to that they need to start funding projects. So, the left hand still does not know what the right hand is doing, and vice versa. And the only thing we can do is force them to talk about it. So,
You skipped CMAC, was that okay?
yeah, CMAC is looking pretty good. We are, $2 million over, but that's fine because that's going to come from somewhere else. There's a big push with at least, yeah, there's a push with HSIP and CMAC projects, but we do have CMAC projects. The HSIP projects we don't have as many HSIP projects. We did get some projects in the NOFA that might be eligible for HSIP funding. But one of the things I noticed reading through the dialogues is they really don't, those projects, the sponsors didn't push the HSIP idea, the safety portion of it. So we'll have to look at if, we'll look at accident rates, or I shouldn't say accidents, crash rates. We'll look at all roadway users and how many of the vulnerable roadway users are actually using the street instead of the sidewalk, if there's a sidewalk, or how many people are. And I don't know how you're going to get those sidewalk counts.
So in the future, does our focus in these notice of funding availability steps, do we need to highlight or give more points to those that are safety related, or do we need to have a target project category or project type that focuses on that more than we have to this point? Because we're not paying attention to it, right? We've known for years that we're not spending money on HSIP, right? We've known that, but we've sort of plodded along. Now it's becoming an issue. Is there some way that we need to change the balance in scoring or put more weight towards HSIP projects so that we get more interest in that?
And I think one of the things that NERC is going to be doing, I didn't get it done in 23, so that's on me. But starting in 24, we're going to be doing road safety audits for everybody.
So that would
help out,
and that would lend itself to the improvement safety-wise.
Yes. And we could also look at, we could apply those road safety audits to, say, sections of a corridor that don't have sidewalks on it. If they're a busy road, we can look at that and say, and it might be something simple where we look at the right-of-way and say, there's plenty of right-of-way here, how come there isn't a sidewalk?
So I would, in my experience, I would urge the LPAs to reach out to LTAP and not wait for NERC to do RSAs, right?
Right.
You can go through LTAP, we did that once, right? We did that on a couple of intersections, just go to LTAP, make a request, get the right group of people together and start doing your own in advance to build enough projects to start the work, and no hard feelings, but don't wait for NERC to start that process.
So, yeah, I mean, hopefully, like I said, I did write up an RFP, and we'll get that out soon, sometime in 24. We'll bring in a consultant. We've put aside $75,000, and we'll do as many road safety audits as we can for that $75,000. I think I've told everybody what we'll do is we'll bring everybody that lets them just submit an idea for road safety audit. We'll meet in this room. We'll get on Google Maps. We'll drive through it and see what we see on Google Maps. And then we'll maybe head out to the sites and look at the sites and, you know, be a whole day affair. But you're gonna be getting a $25,000 road safety audit for free. So we can look at that, and that should help identify, or at least get everybody to start thinking about road safety audits, or safety, and how we can apply. So the ones, obviously the ones we're going to start off first are those projects that are already in the TIP or in the NOFA. And, but it'll be open to anybody. So we can, and it'll just depend on us working with the consultant, finding out how many they can do for that price. And we'll sit down and we may look at it together and say, because not all road safety audits are the same price. So some are going to be a lot more complex than the others. So looking at the spending plan, we're looking at 2025. And I pulled the transit out so that when we look at these plans, I think you guys noticed that there is a transit tab. So I didn't totally lose the transit. But this way we can look at apples to apples. But if there is federal highway funds, it is, the transit project is in this. So it's high, I shouldn't say the transit projects, I pulled out transit funding versus highway funding. So looking at 2025, Lake County Vet Trail, Hammond's Marquette Greenway Trail,
I think we're on target for that.
okay.
So one thing we do need to point out on, I know it's not 2025, but the 100,000 in 2023, our environmental is not moving as fast as we expected it to. We're still on course for the letting date, but I think we're at a point where there's no way we're going to be able to, that money was for right-of-way services, and we can't start right-of-way services until after the environmental is complete, which won't be in the current fiscal year. And so we're offering to forego the 100 to remove it completely and let NERC reprogram that amount if possible. I mean, that probably doesn't help the current fiscal year by adding to the surplus, but we don't
So I do have, yeah, we have 4.6 right now. That's another good idea. We got 4.6 right now. This, I did find someone that can, Evansville, that could use all this money, but we wouldn't get it back till later on. So 2028. So that does help us out in 2028. With our current projects, we could expand our NOFA and get some of those projects, gain some of that funding back. I think it's 28 and 29 that they're looking to give, although I've been pushing back and trying to see if there's something we could get prior before then.
But these high cost people, is we shoving projects out 25, 26, and 27.
Right.
And so we'll need that money, I think, in 28. I think it can be very much used. If we could have gotten it earlier, that'd been better, but you know, 28 is better than nothing.
Right, right. So,
Well, and you never know when Evansville, something changes and they're looking to move on. So,
Okay. There is a Marquette Greenway bridge over Kennedy Avenue. I'm not sure what the cost is on that one.
So that was the widening
Yes,
of the Michigan Bridge over Kennedy.
correct,
To
Michigan Avenue.
accommodate the Marquette Greenway Trail, but in light, and I don't know if there's a representative in Chicago.
There's two of them here.
I shouldn't speak for them, but it's our understanding that trail alignment is changing pretty regularly and may or may not go over Kennedy Avenue on Michigan. And so I would involve Mitch Barloga and our friends from Chicago to help us figure out whether or not this project moves forward.
Right.
I think there's a preliminary field check coming up on that project.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday at 2:00. Please go because this is still on the table. Something is on the table because we do need to address vulnerable roadway users. So, and if you're doing complete streets on Kennedy Avenue, we really need to get people across the bridge.
This is Michigan over 10.
Right. But you're doing a road diet on Kennedy. And so we need to get people over Kennedy Avenue, from one side of Kennedy Avenue to the other.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, because if you or if Chicago want to trade, the bridge have to have the bike trade.
Right.
Because it's only one way.
Deborah?
Absolutely, it's one over. It's gonna be, we're gonna need the space, just for safety of users, and then, like you said, the road diet going to Kennedy. You know, we planned it to cross, Michigan in the south, therefore it removes any conflicts the user would have connecting with the connection point.
So, yeah, we'll need to work together with Hammond, because the bridge is in Hammond. And we don't know what that's gonna look like. Because it may just be a sidewalk, a wide sidewalk, a 6-foot sidewalk or an 8-foot sidewalk or a 10-foot sidewalk is all the same price.
so the original plan was to make the bridge an extra lane wider to accommodate the Marquette Greenway on the north side of the Michigan Bridge,
And have a barrier between,
between the roadway and the trail. If that's the intent, then I'm happy to support that, and I'd be stupid not to support that. We're pro trails all over. I am unclear on what the route is, and I appreciate our friends from Chicago being here because it's moved from one place to the other. So,
right,
if we're full gas on the north side, putting the Marquette Greenway on the north side, I couldn't agree more.
Julio and Deborah, there's a couple seats right up here for you guys. I feel like I'm dodging Dean to. So, yeah, we're gonna discuss this on Thursday at the field check on the bridge on what we can do and how much this is gonna cost us. Right now, I think NDOT is planning on widening the bridge, and that's it, and just leaving it with nothing there, but then we can come back and easily put a sidewalk on there. Now, I've been proposing just to put the sidewalk in there now. I mean, why do construction twice on the bridge?
But if we're doing a trail, we might as well put the trail, I mean, I don't want to put a sidewalk in.
Right,
And have a trail.
and that's,
I mean,
right.
That would not be good.
But if we don't, and the issue that they're having with the bridge is their environmental document, if they show a trail, then they don't show it connecting to anything.
Yeah, really, because the sidewalk, no walks over there.
Right.
Nobody walk.
Right, so if we just leave an extra lane, lane, so to speak, then we can come back later on and put the sidewalk in or trail. But we have to figure out what East Chicago's intention for the trail is, or the route, the preferred route for the trail is. Because right now it's still kind of up in the air. So,
You have something known about the trail?
You know, we're working on a couple of concept studies right now. About, we put in some concrete sidewalk down the north side of Michigan, modify the offsets on the shoulder, and then maybe get it extended a week partner up with Yankee. There's some space they have with, part of this cooperation.
so. But anyway, so this bridge widening is still on the table.
Okay.
We have Holman Avenue reconstruction,
Yep, still good.
Cedar Lake sidewalks,
They,
you think?
we're not doing that one. I'm not sure about.
I've got $750,000 for GPTC for their expansion. The road safety audits. Cherville Kennedy Avenue, Phase 3.
We'll have sidewalks.
And then right away for Phase 4 in 2025. These that we see in purple are changes we made in November. Valparaiso Roundabout at Campbell and Lincoln Way. Pedestrian facilities in Gary at 5th and Bigger. That's small, so, but that's still there. And then EVP in Chesterton in Porter County. That's what we have in 2025. And 11.5 million. You're right. I think that bridge is going to, that bridge on Michigan Avenue is gonna move to 26, I think is what NDOT is thinking. So, and of course,
We'll know more Thursday.
yeah, we'll know more Thursday.
But that was 600K.
The estimate that we had was 900,000,
So
and then federal is 80% of that.
But if that moves a year, that's about $1 million.
Yeah, 720,000.
We're still at $10 million over contract.
Yeah,
So,
10.5.
so are you now asking if anybody,
I'm asking for volunteers is what I'm asking for.
all the total? I love it.
Like I said, the stuff in purple we moved last time, and per the agreement, we're not gonna try to move those projects.
I'm sorry,
If you move once,
don't move again.
you're given a safeguard. Unless you choose to move again.
How much are we still over, let's see, we said subtracted all the ones that we have agreed we're not going to move, how much is left that needs to be done?
Well, we're over 11.5 million.
Right, and how much have we decided cannot move out of 25, because it's already been into 25 from the earlier year? Roughly.
1 million, 4 million. $5 million, $5 million.
So we have to do all that out, and we're still 5 million short?
Those are 5 million that we moved into 2025.
To make room in 24 to be balanced.
Right,
These are folks that volunteered to
Right.
get their project out.
so, and these are all updated estimates in here, so that's where a lot of that,
2026, we're 12 million over, right?
2026, no, we're not 12, 2025, we're 11.5.
But whatever we move to 25 is gonna cause 26 to go over.
Right, and then some of those are gonna filter over into 27 and 28.
Right.
And there's roughly, what, per year, 20 to 24, something like that?
23.7.
So that would be about 19.
What's that?
So if we're at about 20 and we're 11 over, so that means we have about 33. And minus about 5 means that we have something like about 28 million in there right now.
Yeah,
So we have to find 11 out of roughly 28. So almost 50% of our projects, 40 to 50% of our
Right.
projects we need to move out of 25. That's going to be, unless there's one big project at $11 million, which there isn't, there's going to be a number of people that'll have to move.
there's a couple bigger projects, but, you know, they're big, you know, there's 3.5 million, there's 3 million, there's 5.5 million that I'm seeing. Here's a couple 1.7 millions. So, and a lot of this, like I said, that this is with these new estimates. So, projects that have increased 40, 30, 40, 50% or more.
Average is about 33, from what I've heard from everybody.
Yeah. Any volunteers?
Charles, ever be moving them to 25 then?
25 to 26, or 27.
Yeah, we could probably do that, on our two, with that trail.
To 1 year or 2 years?
I mean, it would be preferable for one, but if it goes to two, I understand, so.
As projects move out, do we apply inflation to it, bump up the amount?
Probably will. Although, who knows what inflation is? I mean, I've heard various contractors say that they don't expect inflation from here on out to be minimal.
What's
Only
minimum
because
standard 3% or?
less than that. And things, what's that?
I think that's wishful thinking.
I think so too.
Well, yeah, no one gave me that in writing.
They didn't put
They
any
just
money
hope
down
real
on it,
hard.
did it?
No, they didn't put any money down on it.
Liquid rates are gonna go up, material prices may be back a bit, but concrete is still $200 a yard. You know, and the factors that are driving that aren't gonna change. So, I think that's wishful thinking.
Yeah, we just had Summer Street opened in December, and we all were projecting a 30% increase, right, from what the going rate was, came in at 20%. We're all high-fiving each other because it wasn't 30%, but it's still 20% higher than we expected.
So, yeah, that's a big project though. So I think the bigger projects they always get competitive bids. I think it's where those smaller projects, I think Cherville's 5.6 million, maybe 5.6 million. Whereas Lake County's, trail, which is 1 million or 1.7 million, whatever it is, it may be 1 million. That may come in at 1.3 million or something like that. So I think depends on size of the project, on the inflation, but you can't, who knows?
I think at this point, we just hold the same numbers and do it a year. Because it's so far out, we talked about having this update, budget update in August every year.
Right.
Got a good chance to amend the numbers. There's two projects that are moving, both of them.
Yeah. They would both move.
That's 2.5 out of 11.
So, question, I apologize. Cedar Lake, did you say you were planning money for one your projects too, or no?
I mean, no, not right now, maybe.
You're not, okay.
Yeah, I can't make that call.
That's fine, I apologize, I just.
This-
So that brings us down under 9. Do we want to look at 20, do you want to take a break and look at 26? Um, 26 has Willow Creek Road. Winfield has a project, roundabout. Maryville has a roundabout. Two roundabouts. Lake County has a bridge. Griffiths has a roundabout. East Chicago has a pavement rehab. Hammond. Oh, that's sweet.
Nice. Summer Street got moved up.
That helps. That was a big.
Yeah.
That was a big error on my part. That was a good find.
Okay, we'll take it.
Kennedy Avenue in 26. Dean. Kennedy Avenue, is that 26?
That one,
No.
we're matching up with, Lake County's grid. If we could move to 26, so it's a two levy.
This project's over there. It was in 2 phases, they pulled it together as we got real stuff on this. Yeah, so it comes with kind of, we already did the project. Oh, it just comes. Because of it.
Road safety audits. Funding for GPTC expansion. Here's a project for Lake Station. I need to talk to them. It's NERC funding for air quality education. Lake County Trails.
How big is Lake Station's project?
900.
And that's small. Charles,
Yes.
I think Maryville, 79th Avenue can go a year out.
To 27.
Maryville, 79th Avenue.
Does that help you, Charles?
Yeah.
Yes, it does help. No trails in 27. Oh, that's 27. No wonder. So we're at 4.6 right now in the hole. Again, we have protect funds we can't touch at $700,000. There's CRP funds. We have TA funds. We are over-programmed under CMAC funds, but it's better to be more restrictive than not. HIP funds, again, we don't have any projects in HIP. Unless we have a project that could be converted to HIP. And that might be where we look at a roundabout or something like that. If a roundabout qualify, if it has crash history. So. I'm not finding any, that's what we have, so.
That one column, Charles, row 52.
What's that?
This row 52, you've been adding that in your total column.
It actually doesn't total column BD. It
I saw
comes
that you were
from
doing that
these.
earlier. I didn't know if you needed to do that.
So, no, it would take it from AX. This is Lake Station's project. I need to talk to them. See if they want to continue with that project. I haven't heard anything from Lake Station. I do need to talk to them though. But that would give us another $900,000. So. Any volunteers for 25 or 26? Okay, then I'm going to go back to my desk and I'm going to look at this on my own. And then I'll talk to the mayor or the city council, or the town council, I should say.
Something's got to be.
Right.
Between the 2 years, we're about 9 million, which is almost what we get in a whole year. So it almost says that maybe in Nova, we should add another year to for those projects, so we can get the stuff funded 25, 25, 26, 27. We take 28's money and move it out, then we can fund all of those years, or something like that. But right now, we're a whole year short.
Yeah.
It's between 25 and 26. I think you all are going to decide before the TPC meeting how much money is going to go in each category for the buildings, right?
Yeah.
Might consider-
And some, like I said, there's some categories which we can't touch, CRP, protect, HSIP, so.
So are we gonna forecast, so I sort of thought that today's meeting, we needed to do this, but in 2 weeks, we're gonna TPC the NOFA, we're gonna start selecting projects. And
Yes.
We sort of need to know what money's available in the out years. Are we gonna?
I'll let you know at TPC.
We won't know until then.
Yeah.
What money's available. Can you scroll to the bottom of your, I think I sort of heard what Danny said, but, so how much money are we short, right? We're, can't read that. About 15 million.
Short 9 in 1 year, and 12 something in the other.
No,
But that's not 21.
no,
So-
it's 5 now, I think.
We're under 5 now,
So it's
Under 5 and 20,
in 26.
26.
26 or 27?
No, we're at just
9.
under 9 million, just 9 million in 25.
So we're 14 million short. Can we just sort of, for the group, can we sort of project where we're gonna end up when we show up on the 28th, going, what for projects are we gonna pick? How much money is available for projects and this is.
So, looking at this, we need to have CRP, that's $2 million that we can't touch. Or 2.5 million, CRP and protect. We have to program for.
That's both combined.
Yes. Right. TA, we don't have any HSIP projects in 2026, but that may change. I mean, I've got to, if I have something eligible, I'm going to mark it in there as HSIP. That we believe is eligible.
That project's golden because we wouldn't want to move
Correct.
it.
Correct.
People should be fighting for that position.
So you can have that answer, basic definitions prior to when someone's getting.
There is no definition.
Well,
So what we have to do is, we have to ask Federal Highway to tell us if they're gonna allow it or not.
That takes time, we've had that before.
So it takes about 2 weeks. If I submit it to them, CMAQ's is a lot different than HSIP. HSIP, I just submit it and then they convene as an ad hoc committee. They convene when they have a project to discuss. They discuss it. Generally, everybody submits, if you fill out everything, submit all the, do your road safety audit, that's part of your argument. Then I've never spent anything that got denied.
So Hammond had an HSIP project that we submitted on, was made eligible, then was removed because it didn't meet the cost benefit analysis, right?
Yeah.
And was made ineligible, and then because there were no projects that were
Became eligible.
HSIP eligible, that we put that project back in as HSIP eligible. So it was in and out and then back in again.
This is the pedestrians, right?
The refuge island.
Yeah.
And so, is IP eligible, they threw us back in because,
Right.
even though we didn't meet the cost benefit.
Yeah, I don't know why that got submitted, or
Does the
why that
cost-
was approved and then unapproved.
Because the cost was too high. relative to the benefit, right?
You may see it too, I think, for non-programmatic projects, it's hard to get.
Thanks, Jake. So I don't
It's
know.
hard to get a roundabout project, has to have a serious number of accidents to make you see it too.
And ours was just a refuge island, right? It was a
Right,
halfway waypoint for people crossing the street
right.
in a campus area, so it sort of
Yeah.
makes sense. But the project included a lot of work, and a lot of cost.
Right. And that might have been them not liking the cost and then coming back and saying, well, it is pedestrians.
It's the only game you have to submit as HSIP, so we'll fund it
Right.
that way. So. My advice to the LPAs are get your project eligible for HSIP, and then you don't move. You can't move because you gotta do that.
I agree. I mean, right, I agree. If there's a,
So if the accident count isn't there, it isn't there.
right.
It's not just accidents, right?
So it's, now they're looking at sidewalks.
Right.
So, but I get it, sidewalks are difficult because of what you have to do just to move poor little countries. I mean,
The best bang for your buck is if you can take existing projects that include sidewalks and get that element.
right,
But that would be a quick, dirty way to get that money spent. Because a pure sidewalk project, unless it's a really big one, you get ate up on the fixed cost.
yeah, I mean, Trish is sitting in the back, she's nodding her head, she's got Winfield, who has just been, they're doing a sidewalk project and it's been very difficult. So. So if any of the consultants in the room, if you have that like Denny was saying, if you've got sidewalks on your project and you're doing,
Kennedy Road diet, I'll take it.
yeah,
And now,
I have pedestrian bump outs, shortened crosswalks. Put me in.
so we need to figure out, Denny, you doing that one?
Yeah.
So we'll have to figure out how that cost breaks out.
Which years are we under program for each tip?
26. In 2026, we have one project. That's H-SHIP approved.
Cedar Lakes is the only complete streets that now, but.
Correct.
Sidewalk,
What's that?
it's strictly sidewalk.
Yes.
Drive phase one.
Right. And I talked to Chris. Chris said he was going to get with you, I think, or he was going to try to get the information so we can get ASIP eligibility because that road is really tight through there.
It is. I mean, I don't think it would ever meet single street requirements, but it's a minor arterial.
You know what, but the thing is, NDOT and federal highways being very vague. So the only way to get them to move on something like that is to force the issue, present the problem and saying, we would like this to be put it before the Supreme Court.
I mean, that would be an enticement to move from 25 to 26 in terms of makes it project.
Yeah,
So, I'll talk to them.
I know, I talked to Maryville too, they have a sidewalk project, Safe Routes to School project. So,
I mean, does that help tremendously to move 1.7 out of 25 to 26? And they can engage it?
well, it helps, But then that, we'd have to move another 1.7 to 27. So,
But we have to do that anyway. Something
Yeah.
has to come out of 25, it'll roll to 26, 26 will roll to 27, so.
right,
Yeah, I mean, capture the HSIP money. You can decide who best suits, but I think we'll put it forward.
right. And I'm letting everybody know, if you got sidewalks, let me know. Especially if it's a busy road.
What about pedestrian signals? If the project includes head signals as well, when those are programmatic,
Is that like a hawk signal?
Yes, those hawk signals are, or,
we got that right.
but if you're doing signal modernization, those may not be, but the PED portion could be. But granted, that's probably a minor portion of it.
Yeah, but those add up to dollars.
Right, and actually, I would much rather tell a story on how we are promoting safety for everybody. And this is the way we're doing it. Part of the reason is, and if we can show that we've got a small amount, even a small amount shows that we have a project that is safety related.
Or split funding, right? You split
Yeah.
HSID, max out your HSID, and then shore it up with
Correct.
STBG funds.
Correct.
A project that has split funding, once you go in with your estimate and give an estimate that it's X amount that would be for the pedestrian or HSIP related stuff, how long do you have to keep proving that you're maintaining that split? Just as costs change, I'm just thinking about how is that actually managed? when
So
you're
the
doing first?
designer is going to have to break out when they do their final tracing.
And do the contractors have to keep track of?
No,
No. Your project manager.
yeah, so actually, every time I would get an updated estimate, I would probably ask for a certain portion to be, whether that's, we can set aside, if you set aside now and say, your Kennedy Avenue roadway project is 25% HSIP, if we say that, then anything going forward, I would just say 25% is HSIP. If you gave me a new estimate and it was 30% above, I would take that new estimate, take 25% and say that's HSIP and the rest is.
But in the end, I would think that the consultant would break up line items for those that are HSIP eligible.
Yes.
versus those that- So,
Yes.
so there would be a fair split in the end.
Yeah, I think quantities get assigned to the PO based on the funds, so the person doing the inspection would actually track the quantities for every item in that PO. So your HSIP is gonna be sidewalk related item, those are paid if they're under or overrun HSIP money. It's separated all the way.
It done that way, and they've also done it just a percentage. So it's probably.
Yeah, if it's a percentage, it's a
Probably done
project
both ways.
that fully qualifies, but funds are only.
Right,
So if only the sidewalk qualify, then you're gonna have it separated.
yeah, but you would have, because that's a separate pay item,
Right?
so. Okay.
So I had a question, and that was, we're 14 million shortfall, given 25 and 20, I'm sorry, I just have a hard time reading this, 25 and 26, and 27, 27, 28, what money would be eligible for programming?
Right now, we have 19 million in 27. And 23.4 in 28.
Because we moved projects out of 26 into 27.
Correct.
Okay.
Now granted, those numbers don't take into account CRP or Protect. Or, yeah,
Was there HSIP available in 25 and 26?
HSIP,
25 there wasn't. We were overspent on 25 at HSIP, which is a good
Yeah.
thing.
in 26, we've got 2 million available. So the way, so STBG funds, just to give you a little background on some of the stuff that I look at, and STBG funds, wait a minute, I just, so STBG funds, 50% of my funds can be transferred to HSIP or CMAC. CRP funds, 35% can be transferred to other programs. CMAC funds, 50% can be transferred to other programs.
So
So in other words, I have, let's say I have $3 million. I have to spend, of CMAC funds,
thank you.
I have to spend at least a minimum of $1.5 million if I have $3 million on CMAC projects.
And the other half, one
Can
and a
be
half,
spent anywhere.
spend it.
So,
That's weird.
and the CRP, they tighten that up, so now it's at 65% has to be spent on CRP projects. Everything else is 50%.
So quick math, what I see is, if we have to move the 14 million out, and you take out the, Protect and the carbon reduction money, we have about 2.5 million to program in 2027, and about 20, almost 21 in 2028. Program,
Right.
NOFA money.
Right.
So I think those are the sort of things we need to be prepared for when we show up at TPC. Right?
Yeah.
Is that there's only 2.5 million programmable in 2027.
Right.
Thank you. No, I put
Uh,
14, I put everything in there.
I don't think there was anything to vote on that. Moving on to 6, other new business.
Chester has a comment. We have that emergency vehicle preemption project that we got, we partially funded for. And I was asking if T-Rock would consider, we had partially funded, it was at 220,000.
I have that under B.
E,
B.
B,
Yes, I have that under B.
I don't have it, I'm like,
No, okay, let me do A first,
oh, I'm sorry.
and then we'll get into all the requests.
Yeah.
Okay?
Sorry, apologize.
6A. We're thinking about doing an OFA for Protect funds. Small NOFA, if you have a project that is Protect eligible, resilience. I think Hammond had a project on Nevada Street a long time ago.
Yeah, Dave's not interested in it.
So that's a Protect project. Again, if you have a road that floods, if you have a bridge that needs to be raised, and those are the 2 projects we received in the NOFA, which
The 80/20, is this 80/20?
it's 80/20 money.
We have a local stormwater project that we're working through on
project, does it have to involve a road or bridge, or can it be?
Resiliency.
What about the existing bike trail that the asphalt is crumbling on?
Because of flooding?
What's resiliency?
Yeah, why do you say resilience?
What are we,
Here's that look.
Why do I use the word resiliency?
I see.
Because
I can do flooding.
PROTECT stands for Promoting Resilient Operations for Transformative, Efficient, and Cost-Saving Transportation.
Okay.
So it has to involve transportation, so it can't be like a general stormwater project that addresses flooding in parts of the city that aren't roads.
No, but if it affects flooding on roads,
So we have culvert downstream, that is partially collapsed. And because of that, it goes road up here. Replacing the culvert, and eliminate the flooding of the road.
This is maybe 2025 money?
this would probably be 2025 money. It's not a whole lot of money, but it's 800,000 a year, 700, 800,000 a year. Not a whole lot of money, but
I got a perfect project.
I will let you know right now. Right now, I am busy till 1st of April.
Really?
I got a couple, I have a couple reports that are due.
Okay.
We, as a NERC staff, have 3 reports due to Federal Highway. I have 1 and the others have 1, and then collectively we have a 3rd. So when that happens, then they get some more free time. Then we will, but one of the things I will be looking at is putting up maybe a small NOFA saying if anybody's got projects. So keep that in your back pocket.
Where's the best place to look for fine print on the whole variety of projects that will be that funding?
Google FHWA Protect, and that will take you to the fact sheet. I can send you the fact sheet.
How quickly, I mean, are you gonna have a deadline date for projects on this small NOFA, or just get it to you as we can?
This is preliminary information I'm giving you. I haven't put out anything in the NOFA.
Calling you on April 2nd.
I'll probably have something before at the next T-Rock meeting.
Is this money going to be through NDOT or?
So, yep, of course.
I read planning activities limited to developing resilient improvement for plan, resilient planning, pre-design, design, and development of data tools to simulate transportation disruption scenarios, including vulnerability assessments, that's 1. Resilient improvements to improve the ability of an existing surface transportation asset to withstand 1 or more of weather elements or natural disasters to changing conditions such as sea level rise, flooding, wildfires, extreme weather events, other natural disasters. 3, community resilience and evacuation route activities. I'm not going to read all that. And at-risk coastal infrastructure activities. Those are the eligible activities for which states shall use PROTECT formula program funds.
This is the article that Dean was just reading.
So there's
Eligible
a trail
activities.
that's a non-durable surface in a floodplain, and it needs to be changed to a more resilient surface. Is that an eligible project?
I have to try to interpret that.
Sounds like it.
It sounds like a stretch, but.
I will say, let me just put it this way. We'll talk about it later when I have more time to get into it. Okay? Okay, other new business B. 2101117 Chesterton. Mark is asking for additional PE funds, 2023 money?
Correct. Wait. 2024. Yes, 2024.
This is for the EVP?
Yeah.
You could get approved in 23, that would be way better. Because we have money now, right?
Should be able to, and that's our goal, is to get it approved for the next.
It's partially funded. I mean, that, you have money, we should fund it.
So can you get it in 23?
I should be, a famous letter should come, I was waiting for this meeting to see if we've got the additional funding. I can submit it to Marcy and Brianna.
Okay. How much is that?
It was, I think we're short $125,032, if I followed your math correctly.
Is that federal funds or is that total funds?
But that was total.
Okay.
You were short that much.
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
You were short that much money, so this is a no-brainer.
Okay.
Do you need a motion?
Actually, let's just do a motion at the end.
Motion to approve. Oh, okay. At the end.
At the end, well, because I've got at least 3 of them here. So there's 3 or more. Next one is 1173430 Portage. Is asking to accelerate CN from 2026 to 2024. I have it showing in here already. So I moved them from 26 to 24.
And 24 is balanced?
24 is balanced. Okay?
Makes sense to me.
Is that the 3 million?
It's 3 million, yes.
Well, you already moved it.
I moved it, yeah, because it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And a lot of these I don't have a problem with, but we are talking about moving federal funds. So this needs to be, needs to be presented before everybody. The next one is 1500221 Hammond, a change order request. It's just 2023 money. They're asking for $218,884 or $175,000 in FY23 money. Hammond, this project has already received $180,000.
Probably more than that. This is a $35 million
Yes.
phase project.
Right.
It is, if I remember right, this is Chicago Street Phase 2. It's the last, hopefully, the last of change orders for which we have run out of. It was an earmark from years ago. We've run out of all the federal funds we have available, and the project's complete. We're just hopefully seeking support from NERC to help fund these additional change order amounts. If we have to, we're prepared to fully fund them, but it's our request that we continue to use the STPG money, 80-20 match for this, for these items.
Okay. Are there any other requests?
So the effect on the budget for the Hammond request doesn't.
It's 175,000.
But it doesn't trigger an over budget.
No, because we have 4.6. 4.5 now.
It's a low down.
So we have that much extra in funds. What's that? Yeah, so we would give this 4.5 to Evansville, and then we would get that back in 28, I think. So that helps any of those projects that move out. If I get them in 27, I'll get them in 27. But, or earlier. So we have 3 projects then that we are discussing. 1500221 Hammond, requesting $175,000 federal. Portage is asking to accelerate their project from 26 to 24. And Cheston is asking for an additional $100,000 in PE funds.
Motion to approve.
We have a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you very much for doing business with us today. Any other new business? And moving on to number 7. If there is no other new business, we move to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you very much, everybody.